Sometimes it can be hard to judge if the lighting in a scene is correct, and even if it is correct at one point in time, the nature of constantly altering your lighting settings as you work can easily knock the scene's lighting off kilter. A simple trick to help you read the overall scene lighting, including exposure, core shadows, reflections, and just overall lighting quality, is to create a gray ball and a chrome sphere and set them somewhere in the middle of your scene. You can group the two spheres and set them up so that they can be moved around easily as a group to view the lighting in your scene from different angles too. Anytime you want to get an idea of the overall lighting of an area of your scene, just move them into place and fire off a quick preview bake. So to get started, I'm going to go over into the Modes panel, and under Basic, I'm going to grab a sphere and drop it onto the table here. Now, it's too large, so we'll go into our Details panel and reduce the scale. We're going to bring it down to about 0.25 on all axes. And we'll name this sphere Gray Ball. Next, we'll duplicate this sphere by holding down the Alt key and dragging. And we'll name this sphere Chrome Sphere. Now, to make these two easy to move around, we're going to right-click in the World Outliner and choose Create Folder. We're going to call this folder Render Viz. And then we'll just go ahead and grab these two guys and drop them into that folder. Now, we don't want these two objects to appear when we view the walkthrough in real time, so we're going to select them both, and under the Details panel, scroll down to Rendering, and we're going to check Actor Hidden in Game. Now, if we ever want to hide these, we can just hide the folder, and then we won't see them in our level. Now, if we want to be able to move these together as a unit, we'll just go ahead and create a group out of them. So we'll select both again, right-click, and we'll choose Group. So with our group actor here selected, when we move both of them together. So the next step is to apply the materials to the two objects. So we'll start with the chrome sphere, and I'm just going to double click the material here. And right now it's using a default or a basic shape material. We'll go ahead and save that. So we'll do File, Save As, and under my Materials folder, we'll save it as M Chrome Sphere. All right, so we want to leave the color as white, and then we're going to add a metallic constant here and set that to 1. We'll show the background. Now we need to also adjust the roughness, so we'll go ahead and change that default value to 0. All right, and there we have our chrome sphere. We can go ahead and save that. For the gray ball, we're going to use the same technique. We'll load it up and we'll save it as, and then the name of this one will be M Gray Ball. Save it in the same location here. Now for the gray ball, we're going to change the color parameter here. We're going to set the value to 0.18. Now we don't have to do anything for metallic. That should be 0 by default. We do want to make sure our roughness is set to 1. Okay, so there's our gray ball. We'll go ahead and save that. As a last step, we want to make sure that we can add our materials here to these two objects. So we'll just drag this one onto the chrome sphere, and we'll drag this one onto the gray ball. Now, obviously, in unlit mode here, they're not going to do much for us. We're not going to be able to really see their effect and be able to use them until we've actually done our light map baking. But before we can bake our light maps, there's a couple of other things we should do. First of all, we need to go ahead and disable any kind of special effects that are enabled in the level. This way, we can get a better baseline for the quality of our lighting environment without any of those kind of effects getting in the way. So let's go into our project settings. And then we're going to scroll down until we find rendering. And on the right-hand side here, we'll scroll down again to default settings. And we want to disable bloom, ambient occlusion, and auto exposure. And we can also turn off motion blur as well. Of course, we're still too early in the process for a good quality bake at this point, but as we go through the course, these little spheres are going to come in really handy as we continue to set things up. At this point, we're all set to begin tweaking the lighting environment to achieve a photorealistic look. So up next, we're going to look at working with the interior lights to get started.